Okay, goal for today, goal for today, Dior beauty shopping guide that isn't gonna take an hour. I'm gonna try to do all of this in like 20 minutes, or at least the video you'll see is 20 minutes. Hey everyone, today we're gonna go through all of Dior and talk about what's worth buying and what isn't. And also I've got a little bit of news about some products. We'll get into that. I did one of these for Chanel. I did a Chanel shopping guide and everybody loved it, which is great. And then realized I had to do one for like all of the other brands. So today we're going to do Dior. The way I did it with Chanel is I did sort of broad categories. Like I didn't go through every single foundation that Chanel has ever done. And I'm not going to do that with Dior, but I'm going to cover the high points. So I've got my phone in front of me. And the reason that I do is because I want to look at the makeup categories, and then, you know, we can get into like, oh, have I tried that? Oh, that's terrible. Yes, that works really well. No, don't even bother, kind of things. Let's start with complexion products. So foundations. There are Dior Forever foundations, matte, radiant, natural nude. There's Dior Forever Undercover. There's a whole bunch of ones. There's the Dior Backstage. There's cushion foundations. There are powder foundations. There are Dior Forever Velvet Veils. There's so much. There are so many different foundations here that I feel like if I went into all of them, we would literally be here all day. But I will tell you, the only Dior foundation that I ever like absolutely loved was this one. This is the Airflash foundation. It's what I have on today. They discontinued it. It doesn't exist anymore. If you can find it in your shade, pick it up. My shade is 104. But again, it's been discontinued. I'm not sure why it was discontinued. I'm pretty sure it was pretty popular, and my understanding is that everybody liked it. So I don't get why it was discontinued, but it was. Every other foundation by Dior, I've always been like, yeah, it's good. Like, I like it. And some I've hated. But the one that I do like is the Forever Natural Nude Foundation. I do like that one. I do wear it in 1.5, 5N? Yeah, 1.5N. I have to say, I think one of the reasons I've never really fallen in love with the Dior foundation is I have difficulty finding my shade. There's a cushion foundation that came out in this special packaging. This is a Dior Forever Skin Glow Cushion, and I got that in 1 neutral, and that worked. And then in another one, I wear 1 CR. So I think maybe the problem is I don't have a Dior shade that's perfect for me. I think 1 CR is the closest, but it does depend on the type of foundation, whether it's the liquid or cushion or powder. So I think that's my biggest problem. So I wouldn't say that anything calls out, for me anyway, from Dior in regards to foundation that I would absolutely recommend, because the one I would have recommended no longer exists. Powder, although I do want to say one thing, as I was saying that. I don't have it in front of me right now because I actually have it in my desk, but the Dior Forever Skin Correct, the concealer, which also works as foundation, that I do love. And in fact, it's the only concealer that I've ever said like over time where I'm like, yes, this is something I use. And I don't really use it as concealer. I use it as like foundation. I'll have a picture go up. Like I said, it's downstairs on my desk. And right now I have so much going on. I literally don't have time to go down and come back. So I can still get this recorded. It's bigger than a regular concealer, and there are 30 shades. It has good hydration. It works under the eyes, but usually what I do with it is I put it like right here or here and like on my chin and just like blend it out, and I'm done. And I don't wear, you know, like heavy coverage foundations. I don't wear full coverage. So for me, I can just put it in the spots of my face that I feel like are a little red or need a little evening out, and it's fantastic. Which is why I have it in my desk for work, because I usually, like before a Zoom call or something where I'm like, I feel like I need something. I will do that. It's kind of like the Makeup Forever powder foundation for me. I feel like I use it more like that. So it's like a last minute fix thing, but it also works great as a concealer. And I have said that many times, like how much I really, really like it. The powder foundation, the Dior Forever Natural Velvet Foundation, which is powder, I can wear that. It's similar to the HD one. I don't think the coverage is as good and it looks as nice on my skin, but I can do it. I've yet to find a powder foundation that really works for me. I've heard the new Chanel one might, but again, there's like 5 shades. So I might buy it because there's a shade that I can wear, but I don't know if you guys really want a review of that because it's, like I said, it's beyond limited. So anyway, but it might work for my skin because I've heard it actually is more moisturizing. Foundation, okay, done. Powder. Very clear on powder here for Dior. So I don't have any of the pressed powders for Dior. I have, well, that's not true. That's not true. Hold, please hold. I do have. This is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Powder, no powder, whatever foundation, powder. I haven't used it very often. And you know, my understanding is that this has also been discontinued. I don't know if that's true. Anybody on here who knows, let me know. This is actually a very good powder. I like this, but it's not my favorite. I just put a little bit on there so you guys can see. I think it looks nice, but it's not like my favorite powder all the time, but it is very light. It is blurring. It's like translucent. There are 10 shades. It's mattifying. So again, that's probably why it's not my favorite because, you know, mattifying, like I don't really need that. But it is a nice powder. But my understanding is that it's been discontinued. Again, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if Dior is just discontinuing everything that's good. We'll get into that in a minute. And keeping stuff that's terrible. But that powder does work, even though my skin is very dry. I think it's nice. It's just not my favorite powder because I like something that has a little bit more moisture to it. Loose powders, though, very, very clearly. Okay, so they have a lavender powder, which I absolutely love. The loose lavender powder, one of my favorite powders of all time. Then they have the Mitza collection, which I believe is limited edition. I say believe because they said it was limited edition, but it's still around. This is Rose. Favorite powder maybe ever. It's hard for me to say that, but like it's really, really good. Finely milled, beautiful shade, looks brightening. Love the way it feels, not drying, not cakey, fantastic. The one that came out in the Millefiore packaging, worst powder I've ever seen in my entire life. This is pure glitter. So, I don't know. I'm a little confused sometimes with Dior because they come out with my favorite products of all time, things that I absolutely love and adore and think are like better than practically anything I've ever seen, and then they come out with the worst product I've ever seen. It's kind of like Tom Ford. It's very confusing. Blush. Okay, now we're going to get into another discontinued brouhaha thing about Dior. So there are 2 shades of the Backstage. Now, if you don't know Backstage is like what I just showed you with the pressed powder. It has like the Dior embossing on the product itself. And this was used, you know, in sort of the campaigns for, you know, Backstage for the Dior runway shows. And so that's the idea. Like this is what's used in their runway. It's what's used in their shows to announce their seasons. There are 2 shades. There's this very bright pink shade, which I own, and then, which is called Pink, by the way. And then there's Coral. I don't have the Coral. I probably should own it, but I don't. This is a really pretty shade, and I've done swatches with this many, many times. And it's a very just like pop of pink. And it's one of those shades that has like launched all the other shades, you know, like if you've seen all the bright pink shades, this is the one that kind of started it. It's not as purple, lavender, magenta undertones as a lot of that have come out lately. This is more just pure Barbie pink, but it actually looks really nice on the skin. And I'll be honest, I have worn this one a lot. It doesn't look like it because the Dior emblem is still like on there, but it's because of the fact that I don't need a lot because I'm very pale. So I just sort of put a pop like right here and blend. And I've had this one for some time. So yeah, it's a really great shade. I'm sure the Coral is great too. But the Backstage, if I could categorize the 2 lines, the Backstage seems to be more, I don't know what the word is. This is going to sound odd, but it seems less pigmented to me than the other products. Like when I use the Dior blushes, we'll get to in a second, the regular line of blushes versus the Dior Backstage, I feel like the Dior Backstage is softer. I actually think it's less pigmented, which doesn't make a lot of sense for runway. But you know, because usually, well, anyway, we won't get into it. But my point is, I feel like it is softer. I feel like the powder is softer. It's more translucent than the loose powder. I feel like the eyeshadows are softer. I don't know. But it's my take on it, I guess. I'm not as big a fan of the Backstage line as I am of the regular line. And I can tell you the Backstage Body foundation, very much like the MAC foundation. And it's very sheer, very light. I actually like that because I like a light foundation. But if you're looking for coverage, that is not the way I would go at all. So for me, the Backstage always tends to be like lighter. Again, it might just be my experience with the Backstage products that I have owned, but that's what I've noticed over time. Regular blushes. They're rouge blushes. So I was on the site the other day and I noticed that like all the shades of blush were gone. And I was like, what the what? And they are back. They're back on the site. So I don't know what happened. And the reason I bring it up is because we have heard that they are reformulating the blush. There are new blushes coming from Dior, and they do look different. So I don't see them on the site yet. The site doesn't say anything about the blushes being reformulated. So I'm hoping it was just a weird glitch and they're not getting rid of the blush. If they reformulate the blush, that would also upset me because I love Dior blush. And the one that I have on today is one of my favorites of all time. It's called Charnel. And it's a great shade. If you haven't picked this up and you can get it, I would strongly encourage you to buy it. I'm not usually like that. Anybody who's watched my channel knows I'm very reticent to say things like just go buy something. But it concerns me that I hear that they're going to reformulate and that they were gone for a while and now they're back. I don't know. That just makes me nervous. Yeah. So I have a lot of the shades of Dior blush. I'm thinking of the Chanel blushes and when they reformulated it and my brain is like, so yeah, that makes me nervous. I hope they don't ruin them because they're really good. They're one of my favorite blush formulas. I know I talk about Suku and Chanel, but Dior has an amazingly good blush formula. The reason I don't talk about it a lot is actually there's not a lot of shades. They come up with the exclusive shades in like holiday collections and sometimes the spring collection or whatever, but then they're gone, so they don't, stay around. And as part of the regular collection, if I look at the site right now, there's 8 shades. Now, you might think, oh, that's a lot of shades, but Dior has been around for a long time. There's been a lot of blushes, so 8 shades is actually not a lot. So I feel like in their blush category, they introduced like limited edition blushes and then they're just gone. So yeah, I really like the blushes from Dior and I really hope they don't reformulate them. And if they do, it's not worse. Okay, bronzers. So bronzers from Dior. Here's the interesting thing I would say, and I'm just pulling up the site as we talk. I actually really like their natural bronze. It came out a couple years ago. They came out with this, like the new packaging, the quilted packaging. This is in shade 04. It's tan bronze. And so there's 8 shades in this. This is not the lightest shade. I said this is shade 04. What I would say is that their lightest shade 01 is super light, like super light. Their shade 2, light bronze, is also light, and I have it, but it's very like peachy. It's almost like the Hermes, and so I don't really like it. And so I wear 4 almost all the time. And you can see 4 has like a cooler undertone to it. So there's not a lot of shade range for the Dior bronzers. Like the first 4 or 5 shades work on me. The last 3 shades I could probably even use. I mean, they're a little deep, but they're not that bad. So there's not a lot of options when it comes to the bronzers. And so I think they're very limited. And I don't really understand why that's the case, because they have, you know, tons of shades of foundation. So I don't know. It's a weird, I'm not exactly sure what that's about. So luminizers, highlighters. There's the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palettes, and they look exact. I'll have a picture that goes up. I do have them. They're highlighting blush shades. Again, with the Backstage, I think these are very pretty. I think these are very much illuminizers. They call them luminizers. They call them highlighters. I like them, but I don't love them. And I don't even know where. I'd have to go look for them right now. I have them somewhere. But I don't reach for them. How's that? Like, there's nothing wrong with them. And I think they can actually look really pretty on the face. I think they're quite beautiful, some of them. But I just don't reach for them. And I don't have really a good reason. I have a lot of makeup. But, you know, if something is really outstanding, I will reach for it. Like, there are many products that, you know, I have in front of me with my top drawers, and they're in my top drawers for a reason. So I don't have anything bad to say about the Backstage palettes. They're really nice, but I don't know. There's just, I don't love them, and I don't reach for them. And I feel the same way about luminizers, and I have a lot of them because I try to pick up as much Dior as possible because I know you guys are all interested. I have Rosewood Glow, I have Nude Riviera, I have Dior Skin Nude Luminizer, I have Pink Riviera, and I have Coral Glow. So I have like a ton of different ones. But honestly, I never reached for any of these. And today I have on the Nude Riviera, Nude Luminizer, and it's actually really pretty. I think it's a good formula. I think their luminizers are generally nice. They're nice on the skin. But again, for some reason with Dior, like these are not the products that I reach for. When I'm looking for a really beautiful highlighter, I tend to go with Chantecaille or Chanel. And then more recently, I love Rare Beauty. So, you know, I would like to be more articulate on this and say to you, it's because it's to something, or it's because it's this. And I think, honestly, the formula for me isn't outstanding. I feel like the Backstage can be nice on my skin, but I'm not a big multi-palette person. Like, the fact that there's 4 shades in there, I always feel like I get like one. I like to use bigger brushes, and I feel like I get like a little bit of each shade. I don't know. I don't really love that. And the single ones, I do like these. I think these are pretty. I actually think the formula is quite good in the luminizers. I think they're really beautiful products. It's just, I guess they just they're not outstanding to me. And although the packaging is nice with the patent, like cushy thing, it's not spectacular. So I think I've just come to expect so much at this price point that I just find them okay. Which, you know, again, I wish I could say like it's one particular thing, but I just find others better. I also have this Stick Glow from Dior, and this was a limited edition, and I don't see it. I'm just looking to see if I see it anywhere on the Dior site, and I don't. And I'll be honest, I think it was a spring release. I can't even remember. But you can see it's actually really pretty. And this one does like sink into the skin, unlike the Chanel. So if you have this product, or if you see this product, for me, it works more like a blush than like a highlighter because I'm so pale. But it's a really beautiful pink highlighting blush on me. So I actually do really like that product, and I wish they actually had it on the site, but I don't see it anywhere. So I'm going to assume that it was like, you know, like this one-time thing, and it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so eyes. eye makeup. Mascara. So the Dior Show is fantastic. The Dior Show Iconic Overcurl is also fantastic. At the moment, I only have the brick one, the reddish one, open. I try not to keep too many mascaras open at once. So the one that I used is the Pump and Glow. Wait a second. Pump and Volume. This mascara really surprised me when it came out because I thought I was going to hate it because it's a really prickly brush and it's very like, I can poke myself in the eye with this like several times a day. However, it does really have a beautiful like fluttery look. And if you're looking for something that volumizes and lengthens and plumps, like this is a really good mascara. It does give a beautiful look. But like I said, it's a prickly brush. And if you're somebody like me who pokes yourself in the eye, you're going to poke yourself in the eye with it. But I feel like it's worth it because I really like it and I do use it. So, you know, for somebody who really doesn't like that type of formula and I still use it all the time, that tells you something. The Dior Show and the Dior Show, Iconic Overcurl, they're amazing mascaras. Seriously, they're fantastic. Absolutely love them. I don't use waterproof mascara, so I can't comment on those, but I will say that they're some of my favorite mascaras of all time. The Mitza limited edition oversized palette, which is technically an eye makeup palette, but I use it for a face palette. I love it for a face palette. For an eyeshadow palette, it's just not my thing. But I will say that the palettes that they come out with at the holidays, I have the ones from the last several years. I really like these. I think they're really well done. Are they mostly like neutrals and red lips and pink blush? Yes, they are. But they're great for like an all around, if you need something, works for most people, neutral, basic. It's, kind of thing. Are they overpriced because they're Dior? Yeah. Is the packaging like, just kind of like, do you need this? No. But I have a whole bunch of them and I actually do use them and like the formulas that are in them. And like I said, the color choices are always very safe, but they're always beautiful. So I do like the formulas that are in there and I think they're good, including the Mitza palette, but I just don't like it for eyes because I don't know, just in my brain, I'm like, that's a cheap palette, face palette. But anyway, the single shadows, they're called the monos. So some of these are like some of the best shadows that I have. If you don't like single shadows though, I get it. I'm not a huge single shadow person either, but they come in metallic, matte, satin, and velvet. They have exclusive ones on the site, many exclusive ones on the site. Some are limited edition. And honestly, I can tell you that there's some really beautiful shades in here. So many that I can't even name. And these are reformulated, and I don't actually know if they changed the formula so much as they changed the design. So this is what they used to look like. And so I think you get more product, although I'm not absolutely sure of that. It's really small here, but let's see, 0.07 ounces on the old. No, it's 0.07 ounces, so it's the same amount of product. I guess it just makes it look like there's more product. I don't know. Still 6 months. I've had this one a lot longer than 6 months, so it works fine. The formula, I feel, is still extremely good. I haven't noticed in the ones that I've used. And honestly, I can tell you, like, some of the shades, especially the like metallic ones, are so pretty. The Gris Dior, my brain. Gris Dior is beautiful. Beige Mitza is stunning. It's like a metallic frosted beige. Like there's some really beautiful shades. And so I get it, like I said, if you're not a single shadow person, but they really are. They're stunning. Now, the eyeshadow palettes. These were reformulated several years back. I think it's been about 3 years now, and these are some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes of all time. Today I have on Grand Ball. I have Grand Ball on because one of my friends was talking about Grand Ball because Grand Ball, the fragrance, is being discontinued. And Grand Ball, the fragrance, is a beautiful, very light, musky white floral. And I'm not a huge floral perfume person. Florals can give me headaches. I suffer from migraines. So I kind of stay away from something that's too floral. But I have to tell you, I'm even considering buying it And I think it only exists in very large bottles at this point. It's really stunning. But anyway, she was talking about Grand Ball. She was talking about Quint. And so I had to pull it out. And the reason I did, not only was she talking about it, but was also because when I first saw this Quint, I was like, how incredibly boring. There's one dark shade in here and the rest of them are these like shimmery gold shades. I was like, what do you do with that? Well, let me tell you what you do with that. You look amazing with it and everybody comments. It's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful Quint. Does it have a lot of versatility? No, I wouldn't say it does. But if you're looking for a warm tone, like simple, elegant look, it nails it. It just absolutely nails it. And, you know, the shades can be used by themselves. Absolutely the shades in there. But just overall, it's just, I mean, beautiful. I could not tell you all my favorite eyeshadow Quints from Chanel. From Dior. I did do one video like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago where I ranked all my Dior eyeshadow palettes. But the thing is, at the time, I think I had half, maybe less than I have now. I have so many Dior palettes at this point. Honestly, I don't know if I could rank them. I just don't know. I would love to try, but I'd have to, I don't know how I'd find time. But anyway, I love all of them. They're all beautiful. The color stories are all amazing. If they are what I call now the new formula. There are ones, and Dior does this from time to time, where they just come out with a different type of formula and they don't tell you. And those formulas I have not enjoyed, except for the velvet ones that came out. They had just the velvet formulas, and those are actually quite beautiful. There's no shimmer shades in there. They're not, you know, some of them aren't my favorites, but I have to say they did a beautiful job with the formula overall, and I think the looks are amazing. So I would say that they're worth picking up, the velvets and the regular formula. How you can tell is basically if it has the pine oil in it and the aloe, it's the normal formula. And then there's the other ones, and I think like Mirage was one that I didn't particularly like. And there's a few others where I'm just like, what is this and why does it not look the same? The problem with Dior though is they don't tell you. They don't tell you it's a different formula. So that can be tricky. Okay, I'm way past 20 minutes now, so I know there's no way I'm going to make this video 20 minutes, but I'm going to try to cut out what I can. Because I know no one has attention spans and everybody's busy. But it's so hard to, you know, when you're doing an entire brand like Dior that's been around for forever, it just takes a while. Okay, liners. So a couple of liners I want to recommend. This is the On-Stage liner. These are the waterproof felt tip liners that came out recently. These are extremely good. They're really easy to work with. The weird thing is the shade names. The shade names make no sense. They don't match the colors. Make sure you go look at them before you decide what you want to buy, because honestly, I couldn't tell you. I mean, they don't make any sense. They just don't. The names do not mix. They just don't. Look at the shades, try them on. Try them on your hand at least. And then these are the Dior Show 24-Hour Stylos. These are waterproof eyeliners. These are really good. There are 12 shades. There should be more shades, but there's not. And they actually are really beautiful. The one I have on today is sparkling brown. I have sparkling black. It's a really nice brown that does have some sparkle to it. And I really like the shade. I use it a lot and I don't actually talk about it. It kind of has like a mocha kind of undertone. So I like their liners. They haven't come out, they don't come out with like, they don't have a lot of emphasis on their liners. And they do come out with different shades for collections, like special editions. I definitely would recommend picking those up. Sometimes they're a little off. Like I think a couple of years ago when they did the Nightbird or whatever, the Birds of a Feather collection, there was like a shade in there that was like a lavender, iced lavender kind of shade. And although beautiful, it didn't really work as a liner unless you were looking for something that was like icy white-ish kind of shade. So that's what I mean. Like some of the shades wouldn't be what you'd consider in a traditional liner to deepen the look around your eyes. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, a little unique, when they come out with those limited edition liners as part of a collection, I don't think they've done that in the last year. At least I don't remember any last year. They're worth picking up because once they're gone, they're gone. Like you do not see them again. I will say that about Dior. Dior often does introduce things and then you just don't see them again. You can never tell what those are going to be, but anyway, it does happen. The Dior Show Brow. This is not a bad product. I have it in shade 03. There's not like a great shade for me, but I do like the brush. It puts down a little too much on the brow, so that's not my favorite, but the product itself is okay. I don't think it's outstanding, but I think it's an okay product. New, they have Dior Skin mattifying papers. For people like me who do not want to put on more powder at the end of the day, if they get a little bit of shiny through here, which I do, I do have a little breakthrough oil. I am, you know, a person, not a lot, but I do have a little. I would say that is like a great product, those blotting papers, and the one that they have now has like a mirror in it, which I really like, and then you can just refill the blotting paper. I am going to pick those up. I have not picked them up yet because I was waiting to pick them up, and we'll get to it in a second, to buy them in addition to this other thing that still isn't on the site. I think blotting papers are a great idea, and I do really like them. So I'll let you know how those go when I get them. Lipsticks. So there are so many lipsticks from Dior. Recently there was the Mitza limited edition lipsticks that came in the leopard packaging. Those are great. The satin lipsticks are really good. The lip balms, the satin lip balms are amazing. I love those. I don't really wear there's a Rouge Dior Forever Liquid. I don't buy those because I don't buy liquid lips because they don't work on me. The Ultra Rouge lipsticks, they're ultra pigmented hydra lipsticks like balms. I don't buy those, so I can't comment. But I will say I am slightly obsessed with the Addict lipsticks. Addict is a good name. I have currently have almost 20. I have 19 of them, 19 different shades. And there are 49 shades. So I have less than half. I feel a little better. There's two reasons I like these. Well, there's more than two reasons, but there's two main reasons. One, they are refillable, which is cool. I like the fact that, you know, you can refill them. They come in different like types of formula. There's shiny, there's glittery, there's, you know, that kind of thing. But the other reason are the cases. The limited edition cases. Is this a total like money grab by Dior? Probably. Probably it is, guys, because let's face it, you don't need special cases for your lipsticks. However, I really like them. I just think they're really pretty, and I think it's cool that they come out with different kinds, different ones, you know, different shades, different limited edition covers. It's brilliant. I mean, absolutely brilliant. Like, marketing, amazing. So what I would say is that the formulas in the lipsticks themselves are extremely good. They're my favorite type of lip. They're glossy. Some are more opaque than others. Some are more sheer. But you have that option. You can figure out which ones you like. I will have very soon I'm going to have like 25 shades or so on my lips. That's coming. I have to pick up a couple more shades. But what I've been waiting for, and the reason I haven't bought the other couple of shades, and I haven't bought the mattifying blotting papers, is that there are 3 new covers, cases, whatever you want to call them. And here are the 3 new cases, and they're really cool. This is like a pink, it's almost like suede rubber. It's this really interesting formula. This is like a paper mache white Dior, it's got the Dior emblem all over it. This is the Canage, like it's like a brick red kind of shade. It's really pretty. But what I'm waiting for is the Burgundy Oblique, which is the Dior name over and over and over again. And I did notice one thing. It's still not available, okay? It says temporarily available. It says temporarily unavailable for like weeks now. It did pop up in the UK and then it was gone again. But it went from the price of the other ones, which is $30. All the others are $30. It's now $50. So it's $50 and it still doesn't exist. So I'm guessing they're having a problem producing it for some reason. What, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely want one, and now I'm annoyed because it's $50 for just the empty case. Yeah, the cases come separately, and so $50 for a case, and it doesn't exist. So I don't know what's going on there. And honestly, I'm not going to wait that much longer to place the order for the other items that I want to get, because I was just like, I was going to place it all at once. I figured, how long could it be? Well, it's been a long time. And I know you guys are interested in seeing all of the shades, so I'll have that video soon. I'll probably, this is middle of March, I will probably just get to a point where I do it in the next couple days. And of course, what will happen is the minute I order the other shades and the mattifying papers and whatever else, the case will come up. The Addict Lip Tint, which is this product here. It's a transfer-proof lip tint. I don't like it. I've tried different ways to wear it. My lips are too dry. It makes my lips look like sandpaper. It's not attractive. And I really like the product. I like the idea of it, but I just can't do it because my lips are just too dry. My lips are very dry though, guys. So, you know, don't dismiss it out of hand. I don't think it's a bad thing to try if you have like normal lips, but if your lips are dry like mine, and dry as in I need a product on them at all times, I wouldn't suggest it because it's just too dry. The exact opposite of that is the new maximizers. These things are awesome. I have a picture that'll go up of my drawer. There are, I counted at one point because it doesn't say how many shades are on the site, but 31 shades, it does say. Okay, so 31 shades. There are exclusive shades that are on the Dior site, and then you can get them over at Sephora and, you know, a whole bunch of other places. I currently have 10 shades. I would definitely buy more. I really like all of them. The one I'm wearing today is Shimmering Hazelnut, one of my favorites, but they're all beautiful. They're all very like different. There is enough pigment in most of them that you can really see the difference. And then there's intense versions and shimmery versions, and you know which ones are going to be sheer. They really do a great job. I was in a Sephora recently where they had all of them, and there are some Ultas that have all of them in store as well. So you can, you know, check them out hopefully near you to figure out what shades you want. But they really are not only beautiful, but they last longer than you'd think for like a gloss. There is a little bit of that tingling feeling, warmth feeling, but it's not irritating in any way. And they make my lips feel more hydrated. Like I actually feel better after I've worn them. Like my lips feel better. So I continually wear them. Now the lip oil has been a favorite for years, and this was gone for like ever. Like it was sold out everywhere and I couldn't get my hands on it. And then when they came back, I bought a whole bunch of them because I was like, nope, not again. But that was before the maximizers came out. If I had to choose between the lip oil and the lip maximizer, it would not be a question. I'd pick the maximizers because I do feel like they impart sort of a hydration and a plumping that I don't get from the lip oils. However, the lip oils are pretty great. I do love the lip oils. It's just that they are, they're very comforting and they look really nice on the lips, but there's not the same shade range. There's not like, there's 8 shades of the lip oils and they feel really comfortable and they're very nourishing, but you know, there isn't that much difference between the 8 shades, to be really honest. There's some difference, but not a ton of difference. And it's not like some are sparkly and some are shiny and some are intense and some are sheer. You don't get that. And then the warmth and the real like it feels like it's hydrating and nurturing. That's what the maximizers do. The lip oil just feels nice. Really, really nice. But again, if I had to pick, I'm going to pick the maximizers. Lip liners, Intense Brown Fig is what I have on today. One of my favorite lip liners. They used to be terrible. Now they're extremely good, kind of like Chanel. They are excellent liners. They're very creamy. They stay on a very long time. I couldn't recommend them more highly. I would just say that the shades that are on the site have nothing to do with what they look like in real life. So if you can see them in person, see them in person and draw them on your hand at least to see what they look like, because that is not what they look like on the site. I'm telling you right now. You will not get a good understanding of the shade that you're getting if you just pick from the site. The nails. I like Dior nail polish, but it's not my favorite at all, actually. Chanel is my favorite nail polish of like the luxury brands. I like the Chanel. I think it wears the best. It looks, I have the easiest time with it. And it could be that I just, you know, I worked for Chanel. My favorite, like I have a very vivid memory of buying Vamp nail polish back in the day when it was like at its peak. So maybe that's why. Maybe I just have a, you know, a fond memory of it. But yeah, the Dior polishes have never really, they've never really moved me. I've never been like, oh, I must have them. So I think I've actually covered all of the Dior, or at least most of the Dior that exists. I'd also like to say like a plug for the Dior fragrances. And the Dior fragrances I'm talking about are not like the Miss Dior, not the ones that you see generally in retailers. The ones I'm talking about are the private collection Dior. And I know these are much harder to find. They do have them in some of the Dior boutiques. So you can, if you have a Dior boutique, you might be able to try these out where you are. But if you don't have a Dior boutique, it is very hard to find them. But I would say the La Collection Privée from Christian Dior has some of my favorite fragrances of all time. They really are phenomenally good. And like I said, when I was talking about Grand Ball before, they have a wide variety. So they have florals and they have fruity scents and they have very warm scents. And then they have like the vanilla diorama, for example, is a very, it's not a typical vanilla. It's like a spicy, tobacco-y kind of vanilla. At least that's how I interpret it. They have some really beautiful ethereal scents. They have ones that I think lean towards more like spicy, and then they have more powdery. They really do have beautiful fragrances in their Privé collection. So if you get a chance to try them out, or even if you're ordering from the website, usually if you spend over a certain amount from Dior, you can get the small travel size. They're like decent sized Dior fragrances. They absolutely are worth trying out because some of them are just like my favorite fragrances of all time. And I am a big fragrance lover. If you haven't watched my channel before, I bought a huge cabinet, an antique cabinet earlier, well, actually around the holidays, that I put my fragrance collection in, and it's actually like full, which is a little scary. But you know, I have a huge collection of fragrances, more than 100 fragrances, and Dior really ranks up there with many of my favorites, from Guerlain and some old Tom Ford and Killian and a whole bunch of others. So if you have a chance to get those little samples to try out different scents, I would really strongly encourage it because they really do have some beautiful fragrances. All right, I'm gonna see how much I can cut this video down, but who knows? It is an entire brand that's been around for quite some time, so it does take a while to go through. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I'd be really interested in hearing what your favorites from Dior are, and if you have any questions, please put them down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye!